The graphic shows the design for a stapler. Draw an elevation in the direction of arrow A, that's from this arrow here at the front. A plan projected from the elevation, that will be looking down on top. And the third part of the question asks us to insert any 4 dimensions. So, just looking at a 3D view of our model for a second. Okay, our elevation asks us to look in from where the cursor on the mouse is over on this side, direction of arrow A. So looking in at that, our view will look something like this. The plan, the second part of the question, is looking down on top. Look down on top of the object, our view will look something like this. Going between the two, from plan to elevation, that's what our view should look like. So I have a completed drawing done here. So your completed elevation should look something like that, and your plan will be projected from your elevation, meaning that all of your vertical distances will be taken down from your elevation to your plan. So to start this question, I'm going to draw a horizontal line in the middle of my page, which will represent the XY line, which is in our 3D model the line that our elevation sits on top of, will be the line underneath this. So going back to our question, you can see here I'm going to start off by putting in all of my horizontal measurements. So the first distance up here is a distance of 20. This surface here is the same height, so that from that 20 up we were going to measure 40 millimeters and then 20 millimeters above again. So I'm going to start off by measuring up those distances from my XY line up. So 20, 40 and 20 were the heights. So taking light lines, I'm going to measure up those distances on my page and take my lines horizontally across. 20, 40 and 20 again. These will appear as green lines on the screen. There'll be construction lines or light lines on your page. So that's these 3 measurements here. I also have these 2 heights here. So from the 20 line I measured up, you can see here this surface here is at a height of 20 also. I have to measure up 10 twice from that surface upwards. So I'm going to do that next. So this is my 20 millimeter line here. So I'm going to measure up 10 millimeters twice from that line. That will give me all of the horizontal distances that I need to complete my drawing. Next, I'm going to mark in all of the vertical distances that I need for my drawing. So I can see in total here my drawing is going to be 50 plus 110 millimeters, which is 160 millimeters long. So I'm going to try and keep that as central on the page as possible, since I only have the elevation and the plan. So I'm going to mark over my 50 and my 110 to give me the entire size of my drawing. So I'm trying to keep it central on the page. I can see on my set square here the distance of 160 is from 0 here to 160. So I'm going to keep that as central on the page as possible. Put a mark on 0, measure over 50, and 150 plus 110 is 160. And as I was told to project my plan for my elevation, I'm going to project those lines down the page, because I'll need them in a minute in my plan as well as my elevation. So that's the first vertical line, very left hand side of my elevation, over 50, and the line over 110 from that. So we'll look back to our drawing again. So that has given me this distance here and the full width. I also need to mark over a distance of 80 millimeters from the left hand side over. From the very edge that 80 millimeters is coming from. Take that line down the page vertically with my set square sitting on top of my T-square. And finally, you can see here this curved edge on my object is in line with the very end of my piece. I can see that by this line up the page here. So it's radius 30, so I'm going to measure in 30 millimeters from the edge, will give me the center for that point. So from this side of my drawing this time, in a distance of 30 in this way. And those are all the vertical distances that I need in order to complete my elevation. I can now go over heavy. What can be seen here, I can go over the outline of what should be heavy there on my drawing now. So I'm going to use a black pen to do that. You would either use a darker pencil to complete that on your page, or you lean heavier on your existing pencil. So I'm going to mark in the outline of what is going to be heavy on my drawing, the outline of my elevation. See there. Yeah, it's going to be a straight line up as far as there. So that is my elevation complete. That's the first part of the question completed. So part B says a plan projected from the elevation. So I've already projected my lines vertically down the page, these lines here. So I'm going to start my elevation, or my plan, a distance of 20 millimeters down from my elevation, or down from my XY line. So I should have marked in here to start. This is my XY line. So measuring down a distance of 20 millimeters, I'm going to take a line across my page for the start of my plan. Okay, we'll have a look back to our drawing again to see what horizontal distances I need to measure down from that. So this edge here at the very back of my drawing will be the starting point for my plan. So I can see the first distance down is a distance of 15. The next is measured down 60 and down 15 again. So I'll put in those horizontal lines on my drawing. Down a distance of 15, 60 and 15. And I can take those lines horizontally across my page again, keeping them light as they're construction lines. And the last vertical measurement that I need to put in is, you can see here the center line running down through the middle of the drawing. The total width of my drawing is 15 plus 60 plus 15, which is 90. So if I measure down a distance of 30 from the 60 line down, that will give me my center line. So 30 down from here. So again, my finished drawing and plan will look something like this, so I can go over heavy what my plan is going to look like. The center for my curved part on the end of the drawing here is going to be here. So I can set my compass to that radius, which is radius 30, and draw in my curve. Points go straight back to the end. Line should finish there, and this line I drew should have finished there. So the third and final part of my question asks me to insert any 4 dimensions on the drawing. So I can pick any one of these dimensions here shown like I'm given. So I'm going to show these three dimensions here, 20, 40, 20, and my elevation. So to do that, I'm going to extend the line out from my elevation. It's called a leader line. That should not touch my elevation. Okay, it should come very close to it. Okay, and the next line is going to be, I'm going to show the height from here to here altogether for a start. Again, my leader line should not touch it, should come close to, but not touch the edge of the drawing. Take a vertical line straight up. The arrowheads on my dimension line should be thin. So an arrow, dimension line like that, a solid dimension line. And as it is a vertical dimension, my lettering should be to the left hand side of it. Okay, as you can see here in your pictorial view, you can see here the 20 is written on the left hand side of the dimension line, not the right hand side. So I'm going to show, I've shown the distance from here to here. So the distance from here to this point here, so that's 20 plus 40, which is 60. So I'm going to mark in that distance. And again, you're not writing it horizontally across because it's a vertical dimension. I'm going to write my dimension vertically. 60 there. So I'm also going to show in my plan, I can see these three distances here are 15, 60, and 15. I'm going to mark in those distances on my plan. So to do that, again, my leader line, I'm going to take it close to the drawing, not touching it. So from here to here is 15. 60 and 15. I can draw one single line going all the way up. Again, my arrowheads should be thin and solid arrowhead. And as these dimensions are vertical on the page, I'm going to write in the distance vertically. So in the center of the arrow, that's 15. Again, I'm coming to the center of this line, 60. And the center of the line here again, 15. To mark in, okay, that's our 4 dimensions given. To mark in a horizontal distance, I'll mark in this distance down here, which on our drawing is a distance of 50. So again, taking our leader line, not quite in contact with the drawing, but coming close to it. Horizontal line across, not too close to the drawing. Solid arrowhead. And I'm writing my dimension in the middle here. And as this is a horizontal dimension, the distance will be written above the line. And in the question here, we can see that that distance is 50.